It's SNK time! Hello and welcome to another figure review. Today we're going to have a look at the Stone Collectibles Samurai Shodown Nakoruru figure. Nakoruru is a shrine maiden who's very much in touch with nature and animals. Very peaceful loving, but when it's time to protect nature, it's time to fight. And that's why she's in the game. One of the classic characters of Samurai Shodown. Really, I think one of the more important ones next to Haohmaru. A series that has been around since 1993, but this figure specifically is based on the kind of sort of reboot, reimagining Samurai Shodown game from 2019. But that's enough with the history lesson, let's look at this figure. And as you can clearly tell, this is indeed the blue version. Why did I get the blue version? Because it was on sale at the Big Bad Toystore. Not a sponsored video, but I thought that was a good way, good time to pick it up. Anyway, so let's have a look at the figure. She stands at about 15 centimeters to the top of the head, 15.5 to the top of the ribbon in the back. For the inches, that would be 6 inches to the top of the head and 6.2 to the top of the ribbon. Size comparisons. Here's Jolter, the SH Figure Art Son Goku, NECA Michelangelo, Stone Collectibles Ryu, and of course Haohmaru and Darkseid. Overall look and detail of the figure, the face sculpt is bland and boring. I hate it. I don't know what it is. I can't quite put my finger on it, but it looks so lifeless and I'm not the biggest fan of it. The hair sculpt is fairly simple. There's not that much going on, but it is fine. We have the big ribbon in the back and also the hairband, which the orange line kind of gets cut up a little bit on the side. And then we have some issues with the neck. So first and foremost, I feel like the paint of the neck doesn't really line up with the rest of it, especially the face sculpt. And then we have some weird scratches on the side over there. And for, generally speaking, again, just the entire neck part is way off. I feel like there's too much paint on it, and it looks extremely sloppy. Then for the rope, you have the white painted part on the plastic. You have the soft plastic part, which I'm trying to say, draped over this hard plastic under there. Once again, the paint on there is kind of iffy. Like, you have the blue. I mean, it's good for the most part, but you have the blue doesn't really line up that much, but some weird things going on. The rope, however, looks amazing. I love the blue line work, especially like the white line work in the blue, excuse me, printed on there. That looks very clean. Have zero issues with that. And we also have a bunch of cool symbols and detail in the back. All of that, once again, no issues whatsoever. Also like the small detail on her, what is it, like sheath? It's not really a sheath, it's kind of to hold on to the sheath of her dagger, which we'll have a look at later. And look at all these nice bright symbols in the lower half. Looks beautiful, looks great, and you know, that's one of the highlights. The back part is one of the highlights. That's really weird. Speaking of really weird, the entire skin tone is painted as such. The ball joints stick out in a weird way because it doesn't line up. You can't really capture the exact same color unless you paint the joints, and then when you paint the joints, it just kind of flake off. So that's one of these issues, which is kind of hard to work around. So I'll give them a pass on that one. Also, the blue on the front of her kind of like gloves and whatnot looks pretty good. A tiny bit of bleeding, but nothing for me to complain about too much. Going down to the big puffy pants, which I'm just gonna spoil for the articulation. It's a decent joint. It doesn't look too bad. It doesn't break up the sculpt as much. And you know, if you have big puffy pants like that, it's always hard to work around. Down to the boots, which have some more fluff on the top part. Also, once again, it looks very good in the paint department. Like, you have these small, very small blue lines around it, and all it, yeah, it looks very nice and pleasing, except for that weird face. For the articulation, I'm starting off at the ribbon because there's nothing there. Haha, baited. Yeah, it just has a rectangular pack, so we can't really rotate that around. That's not really an issue. The head, however, is on a ball, double ball pack. You have like a long hinge in the neck, but it's super duper wobbly, so it's not great to even hold a position with that. But you can also push the neck forward to get some more out of it. It's decent enough, but obviously the hair gets in the way and the wobbliness of the ball joint on the head doesn't help as much with that. Then for the shoulder articulation, goes back and forth. It's kind of held back by the soft plastic piece, which is covering it up nicely, and I don't even know what's going on in there. You can tell some of the movement, some of the parts that go on in there. You don't have butterfly joints, so as such it's a little bit less agile as your regular Storm Collectibles. Also, you do have the ball hinge in there, so you can bring that up and down. Have a bicep swivel, and then you have another ball hinge in the elbow, which can also be rotated, and that really messes up the movement in general, because depending on the angle of how you adjust it, it doesn't really move that well around. The fist is on another ball hinge, so you can bring that up and down and also rotate it around, and you have this soft plastic glove that's just hovering over it, so you can move that around. It's not connected anywhere. Then for the chest area, goes forward quite nicely, actually quite a lot. You have the soft plastic bending out of the way. To the back is also pretty good and does tilt side to side, and you also have some rotation in there, but it's really hard to get it into the right angle, also not get all kind of messed up with the soft plastic over it. Then for the lower half, it makes this awful freaking noise and I hate it, but you can rotate it. Let me goes all the way around, and we do not really have back and forth motion, just a little bit, so it's a weird one. Then for the legs, these noises goes up quite nicely. Have the ball in there, and let me move that to the back. This is the worst ASMR I can imagine. Going out to the side, and can also rotate it on the ball. Then you have the double hinged knees, which are nice enough, don't really have the greatest range of motion, but I'm fine with it because it looks clean. Then you have a swivel up here and another swivel on the boot, and you also have the foot that goes side to side, forward not really, backward quite nicely, and you have a toe hinge. For your accessories, we're gonna start it off with the two face sculpts. You have kind of a happy face and an angry face. One where the hair also, it's a little bit different. This one weighs more to the side and this one's more open. Actually, it's kind of jumping or whatnot in happiness. This one looks a little bit better. I don't know. Maybe it's the happy expression in it. We also have an energy effect, which is a little bit bent. It is soft plastic, and you have a hole in there to put the dagger in it. It looks decent, but again, the fact that it's bent and just looks, I don't know, not the biggest fan of it. Then we have the dagger with the scabbard. The scabbard looks awesome. I love the small detailed paint job on there. The dagger itself is once again bent and it has some weird spots. I don't really know what's going on with it, but it's once again not great. Fine, I guess. Then we have the hands. You have two holding hands for the dagger. Then we have these two kind of somewhat pointy fingers. I don't know, like more battle poses. I think these ones are more like to send your eagle into battle. And then these open hands. And here's the bird, which has some green on it. Actually very nicely painted. I love the paint job on it. The eyes look very clean. And overall, good job on, what's the name again? Mama Haha. Mama Haha. I don't know how you pronounce that. It's literally saying Mama Haha. So, I don't know. But we have some more parts. Have these spread open wings. Actually very nice on the paint job. I feel like the amount of detail in it is very good looking. It doesn't line up on this one, so I take it back. What happened here actually? Now that I look at it. This one looks clean, but this one is all out of sync. And there I was praising you. Then we have some more claws, which are a lot more grabby looking. So I guess that's if you want to pose it on her arm or wrist or whatever. And then you have the tail feathers, which are spread open. Once again, just kind of for the flying poses or like the chilling pose as he has right here. A little bit of options. Oh, and by the way, he's also articulated. You can swivel the head around. Not quite all the way unless it's a little bit stuck, but get some decent range, and also his little bird legs move back and forth, and that's about it. Final thoughts! I don't love this figure, but I don't hate this figure either. That's really it. It's somewhere in the middle. Also trying to get the bird in this pose is a bitch. Just, yeah. The feet are soft plastic as such. They don't really clamp onto the hands, which would have been nice, also because they're soft plastic. They are likely to break off. And yes, mine are really a little bit loose as I try to kind of push the figure onto the hand. Yes, I'm brute forcing my figures, my problem. So Don't be like, cry somewhere else about it. Because I'm a little bit pissed off about that. I try like, I don't know, way too long to even get him into that pose. And I'm surprised that the bird hasn't fallen off yet. But what do I have to say about the figure? I don't know, I mean, like, overall look in detail, she does definitely look like the character. The paint is good for the most part, and as I mentioned, the face sculpt, it's kind of growing on me, as I was saying, especially the, more like the angry face than the smiling face. I feel like since there's, like, some emotion on it, it looks a lot better. Other than that, the articulation is a little wonky at times, because like Storm Collectibles, they usually do their big, bulky, muscular characters, so they're trying something different here. They have to work around it, and I think for the most part it works. The main issue I have with this figure is the price point, and that's kind of like the main issue I have with Storm Collectibles in general. Why is this like $100? What? At like 70? Okay. Like, I'm saying, I bought this as a one-day sale at like, what was it, $75? I'm happy with that, but paying $100 for this, I just don't see it. I'm sorry, but I recommend this figure, but not at full price. I really recommend, I highly would suggest you go and look for this one. Somewhere on sale, somewhere at a discount, or whatever you can do, then it's fine, but at like $100, I just think that's too much. So, that's gonna do it, guys. As usual, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this review, hit it up with a like and subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for more figure reviews, card game stuff, and whatever Nakoruru wants.